Hello you guys, we are picking up right where we left off and venturing into Bevelle to go hunt down Vegnagun.
So how are we gonna do this?
Riki, we've already stormed this place.
It's obvious. We nab the head honcho. Then we make him lead us to Vegnagun and checkmate.
Not bad.
I got no problem with this. Our target is the new Yevon Praetor, Barreleye.
A girly man like that doesn't stand a chance without his escort.
Careful. He's much stronger than he looks.
Pain having all the tea on
Company.
these newer gentlemen in the series.
Who goes there?
Here's where the
Those
biggest
youth-league
difference,
spies.
if
We
we
won't
had
have to
have,
defile this
you know,
place like
sided
you
with
did in
New
Killicoe.
Yevon, they would just be like, oh, hi summoner, please come this way. We wouldn't have to do any fighting.
Good
But we
luck.
just have to literally do 3 or 4 fights
Good luck.
and just make it to, you know, the other side of the high bridge. So I'm just going to cut that out and, you know, join us back when we get to the other side, because as you can see, we are one-shotting them. They are not a challenge at all, and they're just a formality of, oh, well, we have to make the stories different and make the choices matter, you know? But basically just run down the high bridge, get through the first area, and then you'll come round to the back of the palace, which leads into like the courtroom where Yuna was. So once you get into the courtroom, there are some side areas that we get to climb around in, which is quite fun. And so we're just gonna skedaddle over to the left hand side here. And over here, there is a little pedestal. I do apologize, it's actually the other side. But you see that big glyph? We need to like run over to this other side on the right hand side. Getting all turned about with turbo speed, but basically, we just need to run into this side of the room on the right hand side, jump on this little pedestal with the same symbol. And then once we touch it, it opens up a hidden area. And once we go in there, we basically can go, because normally the little like thing that Yuna stood in during her trial, that usually goes up and we can like speak to Praetor Barreleye and everything. But at the moment, we need to just run in here, make the console bring the elevator down. And when we do that, we then actually descend into the Chamber of the Faith. Or more specifically, the Cloister of Trials before Bahamut's Chamber of the Faith. And thankfully, we are not super glued to an electronic platform, so we can actually just run about and do our own thing, which is great.
Things really are a mess, huh?
Yeah.
And like, I just want to kind of pause here and just kind of focus on like the tone of Yuna there. Like, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, like even if she sided with New Yevon or with the Youth League, like she still saved Spira, and the fact that Bevelle are still going to turn on her and like point guns
Wait,
at her
what are fiends doing
is
in the
mad.
temple?
The temples reek of secrets. Don't let a couple of fiends throw you.
But it is also unusual, like why are there fiends here? And then also like why hasn't anyone noticed these before? But once again, I'm just gonna cut these. But essentially they're simple fights. It just wants like they just happen at like various intervals, and you fight simple monsters. They're not complicated. But like if you go to like the certain areas, you can get nice treasure chests which like good with like good items and stuff. But yeah, I just remember the absolute like horror I had trying to navigate around here and like get that final turn to like get the destruction sphere and everything. It's good nostalgic memories, and it is nice to like have you know, a space to look around in. And like what's super interesting as well, you can see the like little rings and the little doorways. So like there's always sort of been, I suppose, platforms to allow like people to like walk around in these particular areas, and like doorways out. So Like, you don't notice it from the perspective of when you're like stuck close with like Tidus on the little holographic pedestal. But it is just this idea that like, oh, there are offshoots, and like while there's like bright attractive things to like keep your mind's attention, there's also like all these different hidden alcoves and secrets and other bits and pieces around, you know. But we're gonna just skedaddle into the Chamber of the Faith now and really come across a kind of horrifying sight. Now, I didn't do this, so I'm just going to let you guys know. For a blue bullet for a certain boss battle, you have to inflict a certain amount of damage to a character. And I didn't go near Barkeep at all. But you're still better off just going to Barkeep and... Excuse me. Going to Barkeep and just buying the cheap budget grenades if you can. But Bahamuts Fayth is gone. And now there's just a gigantic hole bored into the ground. The statue of the Faith has been stolen.
Let's go.
Because we saw at the end of 10, they just kind of turned to stone and calcified, so no summoner could like beckon the Aeon from them anymore. Same with all the Aeons on Faith's Scar, you know? But now we see that like the statue like was bored away, and now there's a whole other hidden complex in Bevelle. And quite frankly, this next bit is a bit of a nightmare. There's basically this ring of like little generators, and they reveal platforms, and for a particular trophy we are going to need to... Oh, little graphical glitch there. But Yuna's just like, what is all this like carry-on beneath the temples that like nobody knew about? Or like, you know, it's just wild to like think about, you know?
Watch the exit.
I don't take orders.
You do now, LeBlanc. Like, Yuna is like, no, I'm the captain now. I'm in charge. That just absolute stare down, you know?
But I'll make an exception this time. Leave it to us, love.
So what is also interesting, if you run over here to this little area in the corner. Sorry, I just was like, I know you have to kind of jump at a corner, but I wasn't sure where. But if you run over to this little area here, there's like an old style pedestal. And it will basically explain that you need to like destroy the security things, and that you have to get the 3 blue lights activated to like reveal the path. But there's also a lower path that we have to basically activate multiple different times to allow all 6 of these platforms to be in the right place for us to get a ribbon accessory, basically. Like that one thing that we like were grinding 99 dark matters to get in Final Fantasy X. You can actually get a ribbon accessory as early as chapter 2. It just does mean facing like an awful lot of boss rushes, basically, which isn't the worst in the world. But as you can see, we are grand. Between like medics as between the alchemist being the medic and just having all the potions to hand, the psychicer to absorb all the different elemental damages. But sorry, so for this puzzle, where we are now with that little symbol with the 2 dots, that's going to be Tower 1, and this is one of our blue towers. So we basically have to walk forward, activate that. We get a blue light, so that's one of the 3 blue towers done. But anytime we activate a tower, we get one of 2 boss fights. Sorry, one of 3 boss fights. The blue ones are, you know, correct, so they're not as challenging. So we get these little repeat guys from the first chapter. Also, continuity error, why is that ancient Machina releasing fireflies? And so yeah, one of the 3 is unlocked. So if that's number 1, we're going to call this one number 2, and we don't want to go to number 2. We want to go to, I believe this is like Shiva's one, the little eye icon. We activate tower number 3. So that's 1, this is 3. And we fight, once again, the same kind of haymaker golem. But yeah, why is he releasing fireflies when he's defeated? He is a Machina and not a constructed fiend, and therefore not made from fireflies. So, unusual little, like, especially when they were reusing assets. And this is the other thing. So you'll see here that all of the different levels in the ring have like particular layers to the rings, and so when we then activate this 5th one, we then get the 2nd one to activate. And I don't know why I don't do the physical guard, the magic guard, because it just makes her immune to all damage, which just would be pretty class. But again, we have the we have Gravity Eater, we have all these different you know, and now with Haste and Berserk and everything else, we're just going to rip this boss apart. We are still, you know, absorbing our magical energies. And then what's curious is that while under the effects of Assault, we get healed for more. Because you'll notice that I just threw a Mega Potion and we got healed for 2,500 instead of just the generic 2,000. So is that an interesting bug oversight? Let me know in the comments. But we got a regen bundle. And by the way, we are going to get so many regen bundles. It is insane. But now you see we basically have the floor 1, 2, 3, and we can hop down to that first doorway. But the issue is we need to activate all 6 of the other towers now, because we need all of the different platforms to appear. And then as whichever one appears, we then need to use the first tower, like the tower number 1, the very first one that we activated with the 2 dots. We need to activate that one to basically spin the platform into the right place. And so I'm just going to cut out all these battles, but essentially there's the bottom one, and then we have to run back to tower 1. And then, so long as we keep battling this one, the platform for the tower that we have just gone near will spin. And then it's just our job to learn, okay, what like tier is that on? So where roughly should it be in like a little spiral sequence to let us just jump down. And it is literally not difficult. But it's just to kind of watch, and then like if you need to go have a look at it, you can like run out to like the edge of like one of the platforms, and it'll give you like a vertical view down. So we're going to go for that another time. And now that platform is underneath the lower of the 2 mysterious areas. So we're like, okay, that red one is kind of in position, so we're going to activate a different tower to turn that one on. And now that you've activated this red tower, the platform that is released from that when we go to tower 1, it will now spin in different directions. So this one's that little bit higher, so this is going to have to go basically to the left of the one that's the 3rd position. So again, just run back to tower 1 here with our 2 little dots, and then keep having fights until, you know, that one is in position, and then we just have to activate the last one and move that one into position. Now what ended up happening, which might make this look a little bit disjointed, is that my game crashed in the middle of this, and so I had to then like start like the recording again and start redoing this all again. And there came a certain point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to run into the next room just to activate the autosave. But yeah, so just I think one more fight basically, and that one should be in position to like, you know, be just one, because it's the one just above the last one, so it should just be one more to the left. And that's pretty much right, I think. And if you're ever unsure, like just jump and then try and see. And I'm like, okay, I can't jump down, so either that's the wrong one or it needs to be moved over one more. So then I kind of go and try and have a look, and I go, okay, well look, if nothing else we can activate this one and see which one this is, and then you can always run back, go through the other red barriers to basically go, okay, no, I want to move this one now when I activate Tower 1. So it's a bit of a head case. And see, now we've activated all 6 of the towers. Like this was basically like, oh, we activated all 6, and now all 6 are there. But like, yeah. So now all of them are activated. And then you're looking at that and you're kind of going, okay, so I need to move this one a bit more over. And like, yeah, like the boss fights aren't hard. So yeah, so I need to put that one where the other one is. And I need to then move the other one around. So it does just, and like, you can just keep redoing it and it will just move in the circle again and again. It just obviously gets annoying when you're like, oh, I have to do this like fight over and over, you know? But once we get this one over, it all moves into place. But while I'm just doing this twisting game, I want to talk about that yeah from Yuna, because you can very much see in that moment Yuna has literally like saved the world. And now, in the world that she saved, humanity itself is just becoming so divided through the want of, like, change in power. Because obviously Yevon has now lost its seat of power and, you know, position of authority in Spira, because it only had that authority because Sin was there. Oh, and so it's just really heartbreaking to like see Yuna kind of be like, okay, well now we have this like, because for Yuna this was just a personal journey to like find Tidus and kind of find her happily ever after, because, you know, she wants to save the world from Sin. And then she managed to do that, but she lost like the kind of reason she wants to not die fighting Sin going forward. And so, again, just I find that yeah of her again, going down the elevator, going to the Cloister of Trials, going through all this stuff. It's like, you know, Riku's like, the world's in a real mess. And Yuna's like, yeah, like I saved the world. And yet there's still massive like issues, conflict, turmoil. And at this particular point I got so upset because I've now over pushed the area. Like that one should have gone one way to the other way. So I'm just now fearful that I'm like, yeah, like the game crashed once before. At least if I have an autosave of like this bit being done, I can finagle and move the other platforms around. But I know a lot of people kind of slate the story of Final Fantasy X too, but I feel like it is such a good conversation around, like, stories that have a bittersweet ending, but, like, you know, let's build towards a better future, but, like, that is much easier said than practically done, because, you know, people have different ideas of what that better future should look like, what, you know, should be done regarding how this world is to be built. And, you know, even though, yes, you've solved one problem of sin, it's like the organization of Yevon had its corruptions, misgivings, and everything else, and now, you know, that they have time to further examine, like, now all these darker secrets are, you know, coming to life and being delved upon. Like, there's been this weapon of super mass destruction beneath Bevelle. And now that people are kind of free and wanting to, like, you know, covet the power to shape the world how they want, this Vegnagun weapon is now just this potential symbol for danger, destruction, coveting for power. And it's just heartbreaking for Yuna, who literally, you know, saved the world, sacrificed so much, but, you know, she saved the world for people to be free and have the lives that they want, and it's just people seem to just have a difficulty then deciding what that is, and then in those disagreements, they're now fighting. They're now in conflict with each other. And it's just heartbreaking for Yuna to kind of just be there and be like, right, I have to now save all this stuff again, because everything is just a bit of a mess. But we are nearly finished this puzzle. Almost finished this loop-de-loop issue. But the ribbon is amazing. Like, it's a great accessory, so especially to give to our alchemist going forward, because, you know, she'll be the best healer with items and the quickest, you know, response time. So once she doesn't get to be petrified or put to sleep or anything like that, she'll be able to throw a remedy, throw a phoenix down, throw a mega elixir, whatever it needs be. Like Rikukin or Yuna or Pain or whoever I want to be the dedicated alchemist can just, you know, be available for that. But we finally have that one in the right place, so now it's like, okay, where is that other one? That other bridge is... Excuse me. So now it's just finding that one last one that we can, like, move around. And it's one of the red ones, so it can't be one of the blue ones that we've activated already. And again, I'm just like, is this one in the right place? Yes. Okay, brilliant. So we just need that one last one to, like, move over. And again, like, I can't even, like, say that this is a useful guide to doing this, because I just know the fact that it's like, look, you can just keep moving it and eventually it'll all work out. Just keep a better track of, like, what one is at what level and just move that to its right place. And you'll see the final version of it now in a second. But once I just get that one, that's, like, on the underside of the first one, once I get that one right, because now that that's red, it's like, that's the one we've selected through like process of elimination, because all the other ones are still glowing red because they've been like moved about and stuff. So hopefully, back to Tower 1, our little twistable, defeating another one of these, and thanks be to goodness, the one we want to move moves into position. And with that we can run down, collect the ribbon, and we get an achievement. And I actually run in there to like auto-save it because I'm like, I'm not doing that again. But from now on, I'm going to basically mark off the different achievements that we get. I'm going to put in a little soundbite for how I feel whenever I get an achievement. But we got the ribbon and the achievement.
There!
And that's where we're going to end the episode, guys. So thanks so much.